Hello everyone! So, a while back, I made a video roasting the entire Tokyo Debunker fandom basically, and since no one asked, I'm going to give you all my honest opinions on the students of the main cast. I'm going to go by first impressions versus how I see them now. Anyway, on to the video. Jin. At first I saw him as basically a reskin of Gaiavari from Court of Darkness, and I still do, except he's more openly down bad for the MC, and by extension myself. I found him to be rude, overbearing, obnoxious, and while he still is, I do appreciate how the writers are slowly letting his facade crack. As of writing this, episode 13 isn't out yet, so I wonder what they'll do with his character. I also wonder if he's going to see a therapist. When I say he's down bad for me, I mean 2 different SSRs of him came home. His dorm uniform SSR came home on an Allen banner, and his fan service card came home twice. Down bad and in need of therapy? My goodness, guy, pick a struggle. Toma. At first I was highly suspicious of this man, and I still am. He is an enigma, and I want to know more about him. He is also down bad for me since he came home twice on 2 different banners, none of which were his. Luca. He seemed like the only normal one out of the entire cast, so he was my starter card. To me, he is just a little guy who loves his brother and his friends. The phrase I think sums up his character the best would be, he a little confused, but he got the spirit. Kaito. I found him kind of annoying at first, and he still is at times, but he's too cute and entertaining to hate, especially his totally heterosexual interactions with Romeo. He is the boy failure of all time. Alan. I didn't think much of him at first, but not even halfway through reading chapter 2, he shot up to my #1 favorite character. Maybe it's my soft spot for himbos, or it's his ongoing character arc, but either way, he deserves a hug. And therapy. One thing I want to see from him is more depth within the scraps the writers give us. We saw a glimpse into his PTSD in episode 12, but I want to see more on how he copes with it. Also, him being the single mother to Vagastrom will never not be funny and sweet. Also, take a sip of water every time I say a character needs therapy. Leo. I did not like this bitch at first. I still don't like him as a person, but I do want to study his character under a microscope. Like Toma, he is an enigma, and I want to know more about why he became a ghoul in the first place. I have a feeling we can all speculate on one of the reasons, which is fame. But what motivated him to pursue this career path? Was there a deeper reason to make a deal with the demon in the first place? Sort of a side note, but I'd like him better if he got his ass beat at least once. Spoilers, but in episode 12, I think Alan, quote, took the bait because it gave him an excuse to do just that. He's also a lot more fun to write than I expected. Sho. I was a little bit skeptical about him at first, but he grew on to me. He kind of reminds me of my youngest sister, talented and with a bit of a rebellious streak. She's a teenager, by the way, so him acting like the rebellious teenage son to Alan will never not make me laugh. Haru. My immediate thought upon seeing him was, and I quote, "Is that Italy from Hetalia?" As for what I think of him now, he's just a silly little guy who's Jabberwock's tired single mom who desperately needs therapy. Also, I want to cuddle Peekaboo and read him bedtime stories. If I have to smack Haru upside the head with a frying pan to get him to rest, I will do just that. Toa. Not much has changed since I first met him. He's still my favorite autistic-coded menace to society. I never thought he was human before turning into a ghoul, and I still don't. Spoilers, but one thing that did catch me off guard is the fact that he's a suspect of the Sleeping Beauty murder. Ren. Gamer loser. He needs therapy and I want to bully him. No hate, he's just entertaining to fluster. Taiga. This man scares me. Though, I suppose I can see the appeal to him after reading through some of his home screen lines. I think it would be quite entertaining to be nonchalant around him, like the MCs from Obani and Twisted Wonderland. Romeo. I found him kind of annoying at first, but now I find him entertaining. It's so easy to get him mad, like you think he got shoved into a locker one too many times as a kid. And let's not forget his totally not homoerotic interactions with Taiga, or Kaito for that matter. Ritsu. I didn't really find anything of note about him at first, While he's not my favorite, I do wish he got more screen time. I'd like to see how they expand his character outside of being a total nerd. I find the snippets we get of him to be really interesting. We're told outright what his goals are, and we know he'd do whatever it is in his power to get to it, as long as it is at least legally acceptable. Not a whole lot about him is confirmed or denied by the writers, so I'm really curious about him. At this point, I'm pretty sure much of the fandom headcanons him to be autistic. Subaru. I expected to like him a lot more. I mean, he's chill and I like him regardless, and like a lot of the cast, I think he's an interesting character as well. This man is suspicious as hell and I want to know more about him. Haku. Next to Alan, he is one of my favorites. The second ghoul we meet is actually somewhat normal and he wants to help us out. I am sold. He gets a chill guy badge. And he deserves more screen time and therapy. Zenji. He reminds me of Rarity fused with Rook Hunt from Twisted Wonderland. I say this because Zenji is more of a creator than Rook, who's a hunter, though they both love beautiful things. There is so much angst potential for this dramatic ghostie, and the writers have only tapped into some of it in the Halloween arc. Edward. Brother, Also, I must issue an apology to the Leo stans. I'm sure you're lovely people, but I question your tastes and your mental health. Same goes for the It stans. I know this isn't roasting the fandom, but I really had to get this off my chest. Rui. I was a little wary of him at first, but now I absolutely adore his character. Him being the single mom of the obscurary dorm and being the unpaid therapist of a barista is really endearing to me. Also, he is a goldmine for angst writers and enjoyers. He needs therapy just as much as his stans do. Laika. He's a good boy. He deserves head pats and Scooby snacks. He also needs therapy. Yuri. He is an obnoxious dude who became one of my favorites. He is such a dork and it's so easy to get him mad. Look at a guy who calls anyone who asks him a question a fool, and tell me he won't be easy to anger or fluster. Jiro. From a distance, he seems like a chill guy. He kind of reminds me of Sunny from Amori in that he doesn't talk much, and that he probably needs more than just physical therapy. The first time he let out a laugh caught me off guard though. Same thing with Zenji in the Halloween arc in that the writers only tapped into some of the angst potential. And that concludes the video. Thank you for watching. And again, these are just my opinions, so please don't get too upset. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and stick around and maybe even subscribe. Bye bye!